So should we do a cold open today or should we skip it?
Skip.
Yeah, I don't think we need one.
What's up, everybody? Welcome and thank you for joining us for another episode of the PHNX Suns Podcast. I'm Lindsay. That's Eric. That's Espo. If you're like, who's Eric? Eric's usually behind the Mac, but we brought him in front of the camera today to join us for the conversation. Did you guys have a good weekend?
Well, he wore his extra long shorts for the show today. So.
And if you couldn't tell, I totally expected to be directly in front of this main camera here today. So two shows in one for you.
I had an okay weekend. No complaints.
I watched Beetlejuice.
The new one?
Yes, it was
it
cute.
good?
I liked it.
It seems like your kind of movie.
I thought it was a cute one.
Does it live up to the original?
It was good because they kept some like the visuals look the exact same as the OG, right? They didn't try and make it better looking graphics and animations and things. They kept it pretty OG. So I liked that about it. I don't know. I liked it. If I had to take Beetlejuice 2 or Hocus Pocus 2, I would take Beetlejuice 2.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good. I know both of them are near and dear to your heart, so that's good to know. Also, near and dear to your heart, you thought he was one of the greatest leaders of all time, Darth Vader. James Earl Jones passed away. So
R.I.P. to James Earl Jones. Not just Darth Vader, though. All the other amazing performances and moments we've gotten from him, too. Sad day to start on a Monday.
Field of Dreams.
Top 5 voice of all time?
Yes.
Seriously.
Easily.
100%.
No, I think it's him. And
it's just him 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few others, but you knew it the second you heard it. So.
There's definitely like 5 people I think you could go down the list of and put in the kind of a similar bucket, but he's towards the top of that bucket for sure.
Win. Oh,
now we're getting a little too crazy on this Monday afternoon. All right, gentlemen, we've got some Suns basketball to talk about here. And specifically, we're going to talk about Kevin Durant. Listen, I know that the leadership conversation got brought up again last week. That's not where we're going with this conversation. But I wanted to mention it off the top before we dove into this because I do think it's worth keeping in the back of your mind as we have this conversation. Kevin Durant seen once again, surprise, surprise to no one, this offseason working out with the youngins. And he was out with some young guys working out at the Dashletics workout. Ryan Dunn was there. The clip went all around the internet this past weekend. This is just something that Katie has always done, it feels like. As far as I've been paying attention to this, as far as offseason goes on the internet, Katie is always out there with young guys, helping them step their game up, probably providing crucial and invaluable information when it comes to the game. And I think this is really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why the leadership thing drives me nuts. I know we're not going to get deep into it, but this is mentorship is a form of leadership. And you can tell that Katie takes it seriously. And it was good to see Ryan Dunn out there working not just on his defensive game, but his offensive game out there with Kevin Durant. But he's an equal opportunity helper too. It's not just Suns players. He's helping guys around the league. Now, there might be a little selfish twinge to it where he wants to learn a little bit about other guys' moves, which I don't blame him. That's a savvy, veteran move there, is to kind of get in close. Like, I kind of hope that's what he's been doing with Ant, where he's like, I'm going to get close to you and then I'm going to rip your heart out when I get another chance.
Keep your enemies close.
Yeah, exactly. But I give him kudos for doing it because he easily could go work out in a gym by himself if he wanted to and not deal with anybody else. And he's out there helping the kids.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he might be taking moves from other people. I think more often than not, they're probably taking moves from Kevin Durant, right? I think that's just the really cool thing. It shows his love of the game, right? And we'll say like leadership, because I think it plays into everything here, where there's a form of just leadership by example and a leadership and work ethic. And when Kevin Durant came to the Suns, and even beforehand, but when he came here, you heard so many people rave about, wow, watching him work out is like a masterpiece. Yes. It's basketball purity, right? And there's not a week where you don't see a video of him going up and practicing with somebody. And these are the type of reps that for young guys like Ryan Dunn specifically, whose offensive game is going to be under a microscope this year, if he starts adding certain things to his bag and feels confident playing against Kevin Durant, right? Like that will translate towards the season. I'm not saying he's going to shoot 40% from three, but compile some offseason work over the years, your offensive game is going to get better because you do pick that type of stuff up. And you could be selfish, Lindsay, as somebody in Kevin Durant's position who's that good. Just go play. Don't really, make it public to a bunch of young guys, people trying to take your spot, maybe on your own team even. Just keep it in-house. No, he plays with everybody. I think that's just a testament to who he is as a basketball player.
And also just the love he has for the game and wanting it to continue to be elevated, right? If greats like KD and others you can put in that same bucket, LeBron, Steph, whomever, don't pass along some of that information, then the game can't continue to evolve and become greater and greater in a way that we've seen him have an impact on the game too. And I think that just speaks to like the longevity of his career, but that's getting a little far ahead of ourselves here. We'll dive into his longevity here in just a little bit, but we also got clips of him working out with Bol Bol and Chet Holmgren. Now Bol Bol, not a rookie, but he's still trying to find exactly who he is in the NBA, right? And I bring up Bol Bol for a specific reason. There were a lot of question marks when it came to Bol before he joined the Phoenix Suns, and even at the beginning, right? That's everything we had heard is he's got the raw talent and the skill to potentially be a really good basketball player. We're just not sure about this, that, or the other. Well, Bol Bol working alongside Kevin Durant did wonders for him. And one of the things that Bol Bol specifically said last year about KD was that it's the little details that KD shares with him that makes it like it just takes it to the next level, right? He's not just sharing like the basics here. It's the small, minute things that take you from good to great. And one of the other things Bol Bol had talked about was that even when KD doesn't know that he's having an impact on Bol, he is simply from Bol Bol being able to watch him every single day and see those, like you were talking about, the way he works out, things of that nature. KD doesn't even have to sit there and work out with these guys directly or play with them one-on-one to have an impact.
What you're saying is minute bull is what we might have to call him.
Yes.
Look, those little things are important, and this is the impact that Kevin Durant will have beyond, his time probably here. Because if Ryan Dunn becomes a guy that is a key part of this team, if Bol Bol stays around and lives up to his potential, and is a guy that is, a big part in whatever this year's team does, but in the future as well, Kevin Durant's stamp will be not only on, on the teams that he's on Suns-wise, but those Suns teams that are there after he's here as well. But his stamp is across the NBA with these other guys he's working with. And you talk about how much he loves basketball. We saw him working on a shot in the club. This is a guy
that's commitment.
This is a guy that loves what he's doing, and loves basketball, and all the other stuff, whatever, but he wants to be around this game and helping others as part of it. It wouldn't shock me if he's, on some kind of coaching staff, maybe not a head coach, but a guy that works with young talent, a development coach in some ways.
I feel like he could be on like the Hakeem Olajuwon path, where a big man, it seemed like for like a decade, right? You get the Dwight Howard is working with Hakeem Olajuwon this summer on his post moves. I feel like Kevin Durant can go down that path just because even when you look at Chet and Bol Bol specifically, it's very interesting because those are two players who actually have similar builds to Kevin Durant, 7 foot, super lanky, extremely skilled and talented. And the thing that makes Kevin Durant so special is the fact that his skill is just on another level. And some of that is just natural talent, some of that you're born with, but a lot of it is the hard work that you put in as well. And for somebody like Bol Bol, who's trying to find his way in the league, or Chet Holmgren, who's now going into his second season with massive expectations on your shoulders, you look at a guy like Kevin Durant and say he didn't just wake up and go about it. He went and he worked for it and he built it and he turned it into one of the greatest careers we've ever seen, one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen, and one of the best big man shooters of all time, if not the best for somebody his size. That's not completely replicable for somebody like a Bol Bol or a Chet Holmgren, but just being around that is different than practicing with a 6'4" guard, right?
Okay, yeah, you and I need to talk here. I don't think
What?
Kevin Durant is going to go down the Hakeem route. I have a theory about this. I think Hakeem's working with guys is a giant pyramid scheme, right?
Fair. Maybe.
Where Hakeem invited one guy, he lied and said how beneficial it was, and then when the next guy paid, because they pay to go do it in a lot of cases, he gets a cut, and it's just gone on like that
And it's just
for
like,
years.
you
Because
know,
have you
whatever,
seen
the
anybody
trickle
get
That's
down.
fair.
Have you seen anybody
fair.
get better from working with Hakeem like that? If he was that good, somebody would have hired him as a coach. No,
Okay, maybe
Hakeem's
that
got
one's the pyramid scheme, and KD will start the legit one.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I'm convinced Hakeem has been skimming off the top for years with that.
You know, that's
Okay.
funny because you do think about it. It's like Dwight Howard, obviously, you know, at the end of his career, is able to hang on a little bit more than some people expected, but he wasn't out there and with the shimmy.
Marcin, I love Marcin Gortat, but I heard.
Wait, Gortat was one of those.
When
That's
I was at the Suns, they were like, Gortat's going to work out with Hakeem. And I'm like, oh, Gortat's wasting his money. Marcin, give it to me. I'll teach you what you're going to learn
teach
there.
you to take a charge.
I'll teach you how to lose $25,000, all right?
Oh my gosh. Back to KD.
Sorry.
And
Pulling it back.
I think one of the things too that makes it a little bit different than just working like you were talking about, like with a 6'4" guard or even just like any coach, right? We know that there's a lot of coaches out there with massive reputations and well-deserved in those areas, but there is something that is just different about working with and or being teammates with a guy you quite literally grew up idolizing, right?
Mhm.
Bol Bol has talked about how KD has been one of his favorite basketball players ever. Like he watched him, he wanted to emulate his game. Ryan Dunn this summer after he was selected to the Suns talked about how he grew up looking up to KD, and it's insane to him still. And I'm sure even guys like Bol Bol, even though he's already had a season under his belt with KD, just the idea of saying I'm teammates with Kevin freaking Durant.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't get normal to an extent, you know?
Yeah, I think there's always, you know, and I jokingly compared it to me working with Al McCoy last week, but I think at some point it becomes okay. That's a guy I have a great deal of respect for and is a teammate, and he's going to pass things down. I think there always will be that moment. Oh crap, that's Kevin Durant. I used to play with him in 2K when I was in middle school, kind of for a guy like a Ryan Dunn or these kind of things. But I think that some of these guys wind up building a bond after that initial, oh my gosh, it's Kevin Durant wears off. Look at what Bol Bol and KD, Bol Bol could have left. We've talked about it a million times, but easily could have left and probably made significantly more money.
Mhm.
And he chose to stay in Phoenix. And I think a big part of that is the relationship with Kevin Durant that we saw on the sidelines, that we heard was happening behind the scenes. And that should speak volumes as well, is that some guys are literally giving up millions of dollars for the opportunity to continue to get better thanks to him. And your hope is that Ryan Dunn can learn some of those offensive skills just by watching what a Kevin Durant does in practice to work on his and how he goes about it. Because process is a lot of times what will take a guy from not a great, shooter to good enough, because he's learned how to work properly. The old perfect practice, or whatever.
Practice
doesn't make
perfect practice.
Myth.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
And so learning how to actually go about it and be a pro and figure it out, I think is a huge deal.
I think there's also something to be said about the whole don't meet your idols thing. And how a lot of times you have this glorified version of somebody, and then you go and you meet them and you're like, wait, they actually kind of suck, right? But for Kevin Durant, you have this glorified version of him as some sort of basketball deity, like you're growing up, right? And I'm a similar age to a lot of these players, and so I'm in the same boat of watching Kevin. I mean,
Not that young.
if
Don't
we're gonna
let
draw
him lie to
comparisons
you
to
like
Al
that.
McCoy, it's like me podcasting with Espo, basically.
Now we're just
suck
lying to the
up.
people.
There we
All
go.
right.
There we go. No, but I think there's something to be said where you watch somebody who's so great and who you've seen succeed on the highest level for almost 2 decades now, if you include college too. And then you're like, oh, well, they have it all down and they're the hardest ones practicing out there. And they're the ones who's running every single summer, playing pickup with all the young guys and all the old guys in different states at different times. And you look at that and you don't just say like, wow, that's incredible. You say, okay, now I'm on this level with him. I can try to emulate that. I can try to be with that. And there's probably no better team for somebody like Ryan Dunn and even also Iguodala, whose offensive games are relatively limited, to be on than a team like the Phoenix Suns, where you don't only have just Kevin Durant like that. And I know we're talking about Kevin Durant, but there's a reason why him and Book could be like this, especially when it comes to basketball. It's because Book's that kind of guy too.
The craziness too is that if you go back and you look at Book, he was basically like one of these guys that we're talking about right now in Ryan and Oso and Bol Bol.
Well, I think his, I don't mean this derogatory, but his crazy matches Kevin Durant's crazy.
The freak.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. The guys that want to be in the gym, that just want to be there and work. And you hope that example is what Ryan Dunn and also Iguodala and the younger guys, even Jalen Bridges, and Bol Bol, they look at and they go, all right, that's the standard. Mm-hmm. And I have to live up to the standard here. And that's how you build culture, is by setting that standard and everybody in that room realizing I have to live up to that. And that is what Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are doing for these young guys. That is the way we do work here in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. And also, if like a guy like Katie gets on you and is like, bro, you can't be doing that anymore, how on earth do you even question it?
You don't.
Exactly. Well, you don't. You can't, because one, you grew up idolizing him. You wanted to emulate him. And now you're on his team. And he's like, that's not how you do that. Be better like this. Shows you the way. And you got to just be like, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah. I'm going to do that.
Well, especially like when he pulled a Bol Bol to the side during one of the games this season, he was showing everything on a tablet. I think another impressive thing is if you watch somebody drill something 1,000 times in the offseason and then you're watching them in game. And of course, Ryan Dunn's going to have a front row seat to Kevin Durant all season. And you go, I saw that. The Leo meme where he's pointing. Yeah. You're like, I saw him do that like 1,000 times when he was playing scrimmage against Naz Reid and Elijah Arenas, right? Again, he's playing against high school players. Like Elijah Arenas is a top 10 player in the country for high school. He doesn't care. He's playing with Naz Reid, Ryan Dunn, and Elijah Arenas. What a random combination of people. But you see him working the same way, and then it's a February and you're playing the Hornets and he's doing the same thing, and you can see, hey, I saw that work translate there. If I work like that, there's no reason to believe that when I take that shot in a game, it's going in.
Well, there's something to be said. You don't want to get that Kendrick Lamar not like us. Like you don't want to get pointed out in that room of people, and it's like that guy ain't like us. Like that's not the work ethic we put in. So
all right, so I teased it a little bit earlier. We're going to talk about the longevity of Kevin Durant and his impact on this game coming up next. But first, if you are in the market for a new vehicle, you know where you need to go. And I'm talking about our friends over at Sanderson Ford. We are so proud to have Sanderson Ford as our official vehicle partner. Sanderson Ford is a proud partner also of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And right now they're giving you big payoffs like 0% financing on the new 2020 Ford F-150, Escapes, Edge, Explorer, Expedition, you name it. Sanderson Ford is here to help you find exactly what you are looking for with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense sales approach. They are family owned and operated through 3 generations, and they pride themselves on the best customer service you can find anywhere. So shop the Sanderson Ford Playoff Payoff Sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Football is back, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for all the details.
I'm gonna let you do these today, bro.
Listen, I would love to talk about Bet365.
There you
go. There's absolutely nothing ordinary about Bet365, including the fact that there was an own PHNX Cardinals parlay put out there for yesterday's game. You definitely want to keep an eye on that because through the Sun season and everything, we're going to have PHNX specials. They have absolutely pioneered the betting world, including in-game betting, which is one of the best things that you can do. Plus, they have their own safety payout as well. And on top of everything, not only do they have the fun parlays, they have the always staying extraordinary, the in-game betting, the NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, whatever you need right now for new customers. You can choose between 2 offers when you open an account at Bet365 and use code PHNX365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer and place a bet of $5 or more and get $200 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets. Again, download the Bet365 app, use code PHNX365 when you sign up, choose your offer, and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
I give it a C. No voices. So
Okay, tell you what, next ad break,
grade.
you can tell me what voice you want me to do, and I'll try, okay?
Okay.
You know what? Maybe we'll
like
do
it.
dueling voices in the next ad.
Oh my God.
We'll do it together.
Bet365.
Lord have mercy. Surprise, surprise. We got another younger guy in the NBA giving some love to Kevin Durant. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought, right? Here's what Jaren Jackson Jr. had to say.
You're just so invested in it. It was crazy. KD's been doing this for a long time. I mean, he was my favorite player growing up, so just seeing everything, it's insane.
You have a favorite moment?
KD?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. One of my first home games, we played against Brooklyn. And at the time, I was probably playing 5-10 minutes a game. So for the most of the game, I'm watching. And I'm a hater at heart. And so I don't really get too hype about other people doing stuff. But I'm watching KD and I'm like, this dude is elite.
Mm-hmm.
He's going through a workout while the guys on our team are really just guarding him as hard as they can. So it's he just doesn't see contests, and it was really cool to watch. And that was one of the only times where I was all right, this is the NBA. These guys are really, really good.
Yeah, I think I saw KD go with 13 for 14, all pull-ups in Memphis. Missed his first shot in the fourth. I wasn't playing, but
It would have been different. Maybe.
Maybe. I wasn't in the game, bro. I had nothing to do with none of those buckets. They were all pull-ups too. He don't really, that rim stuff is boring for him. He's just trying to have fun.
So Jaren Jackson Jr., Trey Murphy III on the Old Man in the Three pod, giving some love to Kevin Durant. And they didn't even need to, right? Because they were going through NBA 2K25 rankings, and they got to KD and where he was at with his overall score, and they just decided to give a little extra love in that moment to KD.
Yeah, we're not breaking news here. People in the NBA respect Kevin Durant and his game. And nobody's doing the Shaq, I wasn't familiar with your game when it comes to Kevin Durant. And I think it's interesting, though, because they're talking about he doesn't like that rim stuff. I saw him pull up and hit all these jumpers. And in a game that has become so much, can you get in and dunk it or make the easy basket inside or hit those long threes? These are guys that are still looking at Kevin Durant, talking about, hey, I watched him pull up like that, from the mid range and hit those, and I'm impressed with it. I think that speaks volumes about how much they like KD, because it isn't the flash that you would think most guys gravitate towards. I think that's mostly the fans, not these guys that are examining the game day in and day out. Well,
he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, mid-range shooters in the NBA and currently specifically. So Killa Curry asked who the best mid-range shooter currently is on Twitter, and Andy Bailey followed up. He writes about the NBA for Bleacher Report and showed us the numbers. Said points added on 2-pointers from 8 feet and out over the last 3 regular and postseasons. Kevin Durant at the top spot with 404. Guess who's second?
Devin Booker,
254. Are we surprised?
I'm a little surprised at the drop-off, because 404 for KD.
Almost half.
Yeah, 404 to 254. Not surprised at the 404, but I feel like him and Book are kismet in that they always kind of do it at the same rate. But he's just unreal. He's to another level. And it's the same reason why all this work that he puts in the offseason translates, because Listen, the mid-range is called an inefficient shot. It's called the shot that you want to avoid at all costs. Of course, like Mike D'Antoni's Houston Rockets, it was a 3 or it was a layup or you're benched. Like, that's really it. But Kevin Durant, throughout all of this, he's played through multiple different eras of basketball at this point. He's found that sweet spot, and he's become so efficient at it that he continues to shoot better, over 50% from 2, and to the point where that is a layup from him from an efficiency standpoint. And that's so impressive. And I think something else from what that clip said about Trey Murphy III and even Jaren Jackson, where it was like, it felt like he was practicing out there, right? It felt like, how did he know how to do that? Oh, he's shooting with nobody contested and he doesn't even feel it. And it was so easy. That only happens because of what he's doing right now that we showed in these videos earlier.
I agree. That number concerns me, though.
The 404?
Yeah, because you look at Devin, like, you talk about the steep drop-off. We've talked about, and in particular last week, but we've talked about it a lot, is one of the big things that they're going to have to do is shoot more threes and do it effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I need some of that number to drop off for KD and move into the three-point range. I don't care how efficient it is. I think mathematically is why it needs to happen for this team. And I'm not saying, I need 200 of those to become three-pointers, but I need some of that number to shift,
Yeah.
shift 5 feet back from where you're shooting it, get into that corner. And I hope that Coach Bud and that offense puts him in those situations. I think last year sometimes they just they shoved him in the corner unfairly to Kevin Durant. And what shot did he have? The one that was there, right? Because of the way the offense was built. So I think it's good. He does have an ease that is a weapon and a very effective weapon for him. But I think he's going to have to move back.
Well, yeah, because he's elite in that area. So
Right.
if it is like you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, you can always go to that. You can just get the ball to KD and he can knock down a bucket in that area. But like we were talking about last week, one of the things that this team as a whole needs to focus on doing a little bit more of is shooting the threes, like you mentioned, or getting to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this is a great accomplishment for KD. He's one of the best to ever do it. And it doesn't fall solely on KD's shoulders by any means, but it would be nice if we could, like you said, maybe 5% of your shots, take a few steps back. 5% of your shots, maybe get to the rim a little bit more just to mix it up. Plus, if the guys know you're not really into it, sneak up on them.
Well,
sneak up on them. They're not even expecting it now.
Well, and I think it could make some of those other mid-range jump shots along the way a little bit easier, where you're not somebody draped on you. And I know he makes those look easy.
Yeah,
but,
he does.
But it's physically having that tough of a defensive assignment all the time can't be.
Well, and I think one of the reasons why I'm not too worried about him adding that into his game is because I do think that KD's really good at not stepping on whatever offense, this team is trying to run. Whatever team he's on, he fits into it well and he does what's needed. I think, you want to see him shoot more threes. I assume he will because that is Mike Budenholzer's system. And I think
he's also so good at it.
Well,
too.
right, and he's really good at it.
It's like, KD, come on, you're elite in this area too.
Right, and I think he's going to be put in better positions to shoot the three because all we talked about last season was the Phoenix Suns don't have an identity. What is their identity? They have a good defense, better than we expected, but offense, it's what's going on. They're not playing random, as Kevin Durant liked to put it. So I equate it to like a quarterback playing football. If you're not feeling comfortable in your offensive scheme or your weapons or what's going on and you don't want to make your reads, you're just going to run the ball. Especially if you're athletic, you're just going to run. And it's going to put you in position to get injured. It's maybe not always the right play, but it's what you feel safe doing. For Kevin Durant and for the Suns team, when the offense is actually built around a philosophy that includes layups and threes and not just, hey, we have KD, Book, and Beal, and let's just see what works. Right. When you actually have a system built around that, Kevin Durant's going to have no problem fitting into that. Now, if we get halfway through the season and everybody else is shooting threes and Kevin Durant's not shooting threes, then it's a different conversation.
I hope we don't have to have that
But I don't think we will. Yeah, I don't think we will.
No, because to your point, we also saw him in Monty's system, which was, again, not a system predicated on threes. So that number...
And Monty used him as a decoy, too. That was conversation when he first got there as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be better, but I also think, there's nothing wrong with some of these younger guys learning how to use that mid-range shot as a weapon as
Totally.
well. And I think Kevin Durant is great at teaching them that too.
Yeah, basketball is a game of counters, like on an individual level and from a team level. It's about how do you respond and react to what somebody's doing, right? And if you don't have any mid-range bag at all, people know they're going to either sell it on the three, and then somebody's going to come in and cover the paint, and you have nothing else that you can do. Or you're going to be at a mid-range position, and they know you're not going to do anything there. Yeah. So if you're Ryan Dunn, as much as you need to work on your three, you need to work on your in-between game as well, even if it's something like Tyus Jones, who has one of the best floaters in the league. That opens up a lot of different opportunities in space, and that's why Kevin Durant's so special, is because literally any place that he's on, once he passes half court, he has like 3 different moves and counters at least that he can go to. And that's why a lot of the times it takes a split second for a defender to not know what's going on, and he's risen and he's already hit the shot. So if he can show, hey, I can mold my game, shoot more threes, set the table for everybody else, including these rookies, and a team that now has point guards as well, which is going to help with the 3-point everything, because you're going to say, hey, Kevin Durant, go do this, and then we're going to get you the ball. We don't need you to pass the ball, defend, be the best player. I think all of that's going to play into a better style of play for KD, more efficient, and of course for the team to kind of follow along with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So that KD's legacy, longevity, impact conversation, Basketball Reference puts out probability as far as players who will make it to the Hall of Fame. Listen, KD's I'm on board with. It's 100%.
Well,
100% probability KD will make it into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Shocker here.
Let's make this very clear. If KD wasn't 100%, they should just go burn down Springfield, Massachusetts. So.
Well, they should burn down this website and anybody who is a part of the probability creation here. I mean, for sure. So there's no question there. And honestly, like all the things we talked about, how he's been elite in so many different areas throughout his entire career, even at age 35, still being that elite level of a basketball player that we've seen from him for over a decade now, giving back to the next generation of basketball players, and not only giving back, but like full on embracing it. I mean, when you look at how he spoke about just kind of at the Olympics, right? Him taking a record and then also at the exact same time acknowledging that somebody else will take that from him at some point in time. It doesn't feel like, at least from my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, and you've seen other podcasts where KD's come out, it doesn't feel like he trash talks the youth as much as some people in an older generation do.
Well, I think you see that with Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
You saw it before even anything this summer happened in the playoff series. I know you hated it, but Anthony Edwards talked a whole lot of smack to Kevin Durant. And what did he do? He smiled.
And probably talk smack back.
Because it's playing, I'm going to get you. I'm going to make you feel safe. And then I'm going to rip your heart out later.
And you don't have to step and put down. You don't have to step and put down another generation to do that. And it's not all kind of old head basketball players that do this. There are a ton that respect the new generation, that like help bring them up. But I think you're seeing with LeBron, with KD, even with Steph in that sense as well, is there's no like saltiness that there's another generation coming up next. Part of that is because they're playing way later into their careers at such a high level that maybe there's not a reason to feel that. But I think
because they're not afraid they're going to take their job.
Well, right. And I think when you're playing like this, there's no reason to be afraid of that. Plus, like the 100%, the top 10 there, I think they're all guaranteed Hall of Famers, right? And what you can do is you can either gatekeep that information and you can make sure you're the only one who has that, or you can do what Kevin Durant does, make the rest of the younger generation better, and like your legacy goes beyond whatever your stats and your accolades were in the NBA. It goes to like not like a coaching tree, but like a player tree. Like look at all these players that learned from Kevin Durant and got better because of it.
Well, how do you think it's shifted? Because in part, that last generation wasn't really like that, right? Mm-hmm. So some of these guys didn't benefit from that, but they look at it and they go, why wouldn't I do this? Steph is probably the one guy that did benefit from it, because a lot of these guys in the previous generation were friends with his dad. He had been around these stars, so he probably benefited from it. And in some ways, he's passing it down because he was given that. I think it's such an interesting dynamic, because you see the Michael Jordans of the world, even Kobe to an extent, they were very come take it from me because I'm not giving you anything. I'm not giving you an inch on anything. You can learn it on your own because that's not my job, right? And a whole generation had that mindset, and now it's such a shift. It's interesting to me, and it'll be interesting to see how much does it truly impact how the game goes. Will we see more guys having, and look, Katie's an athletic freak, so some guys you can't teach them what Katie does, but is there going to be more guys that know the secrets a little bit more?
Yeah. Well, you're seeing, I mean, the NBA, as far as like, if you're looking at 7-footer, 6'10", 6'9" players, they have,
depending on whichever one you want to believe.
well, but like there's so many more stretch bigs, shooting style bigs and whatnot. And KD wasn't the first in that mold, and obviously he won't be the last, but he certainly set like a, oh wow, I'm a big man, but I feel like I have skill. If I work hard enough and I stay agile enough, there's no reason why I couldn't do that. And I think to your point about this generation of players that we're talking about being that the old heads now, like on the back end of their career, receiving a lot of hate, not just from, some very salty former basketball players who are maybe upset because of the money, right? Like these guys are a lot more secure because these contracts that they're getting now, sure, Wemby's contract in 15 years will be bigger, but they're still making hundreds of millions of dollars. But also, they received so much hate from either the past generation or from social media to where I feel like you start to kind of band together.
Yeah, it's
like you bring that brotherhood closer together. Like think about LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Giannis, and Nikola Jokic. That was the top 10 of the Basketball Reference Hall of Fame probability. A majority of these players have been ridiculed by NBA Twitter, social media, fans. Giannis has no skill.
24/7 media.
Right.
Yeah,
Anthony Davis can't stay on the court. Russell Westbrook sucks. Like Chris Paul can't make it to the finals, and now he's addicted and he won't go back. Like it's Kevin Durant, LeBron. Like they've been through decades of being torn down despite being the greatest. That I feel like now when you see 22, 23-year-old Anthony Edwards being great, you're like, let me not like continue that trend. Let me break that cycle.
Well, and that's not to say that the older generations didn't have to deal with some of that because they did. It was just in a different way. It was like newspaper and like the 10 p.m. news update, right? It wasn't this 24/7 thing, and fans didn't have as close access to that. And so I do get your point, though, of like bringing it closer in together as like a brotherhood versus like more, I don't know, the competition is still there. I just don't think it goes past the court.
Well, and you can,
in most cases, anyway. Some it does.
You can push some of that competitive frustration outwards now. Yeah. Where before it's just these guys between the lines. Now there's all these other people coming at you. I think your point is well deserved, but can we get to the part of this where, where this is? I think math equations are just ridiculous.
This is insane.
Devin Booker is 32nd on this list with a 4.89% probability of making the Hall of Fame. It doesn't make any sense to me. I have zero answers for this one. But some of the names ahead of him is what blows my mind. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these other guys. Okay, I'm really not. But like, bro, we've got Trae Young, Domantas Sabonis ahead of him, Donovan Mitchell, like
Isaiah
Carl
Thomas.
Anthony Towns.
I'm not trying to be mean, but this is making me want to be mean right now.
It's all about context, right? I mean, listen, Devin Booker at 4.89%. It's like, that's low. Isaiah Thomas at 7.05%.
The Devin Booker teammate Isaiah Thomas, not the shadow GM Isaiah Thomas.
And at 7.05%. Book has made multiple All-NBAs. Book has made it to the finals. Like, Domantas Sabonis hasn't had a deep playoff run. I mean, DeAndre Jordan, sure, he was first-team All-NBA one year. Besides that, like, he has not had a Hall of Fame career. Derrick Rose won an MVP, hasn't done anything else. Like, to be below Donovan Mitchell, to be below Cat, I love Al Horford, one of the best role players of all time, one of the most probably underrated players from the last 10, 15 years. There's no way that Al Horford makes the Hall of Fame and Devin Booker doesn't. Right? Drew Holiday at 36 at 1.67% is insane.
Yeah, look, this is where math nerds gone wild here, right? This is take away the eye test and just give me complete statistical analysis and still get it wrong. I'm still going to weigh the wrong things. This is just ridiculously bad. You cannot tell me Domantas Sabonis in any way, shape, or form is closer to the Hall of Fame than Devin Booker is. You cannot tell me that Karl Anthony Towns in any way, shape, or form is closer to the Hall of Fame than Devin Booker is. And you sure as hell can't tell me that Isaiah Thomas, all 5'6" of him, is closer to the Hall of Fame than Devin Booker. I'm not saying that Devin Booker is some lock for the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I'm not even saying that maybe the 5% isn't where maybe he should be. I don't know, because I'm not sitting here making up mathematic equations about it. But you can't tell me those guys that I just listed should be ahead of him in consideration for the Hall of Fame. Al Horford, I love you, buddy. You've been in the league as long as I've been out of college. But that doesn't mean you deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame. Maybe you deserve a spot in the Hall of, I spent a long time in the NBA, but not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, look, even with Book, right? If Book retired right now, I don't think he'd make the Hall of Fame. I do think there'd be some people arguing for it, but he's a 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. He was an All-Rookie. That doesn't really matter as much, but he's going into his 10th season. He's averaged 24 points per game in his career, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. But that trajectory is only going up. Of course, last season he averaged 27. He is the type of player that 5, 6, 7 years from now, the retrospect's going to be so different about his career because he is going to win more. And I can't guarantee he's going to go win a finals, but I guarantee he's going to have more success. He's going to make more All-NBAs. He's going to make more All-Stars. And this is not the Baseball Hall of Fame, right? This is not a Hall of Fame that you have to jump through a million different hoops and pray for 7 straight years just to get a glimpse, right? The Basketball Hall of Fame is the Basketball Hall of Fame. And that includes international play. Devin Booker already has 2 gold medals. He will most likely have 1 or 2, maybe 3 if we're talking longevity, if Kevin Durant and LeBron kind of set the standard with that. He's going to at least probably have 3 or 4 gold medals under his belt, hopefully an NBA Finals, bringing the first one to Phoenix. But at a certain point in Dirk's career, when he spent just his time in Dallas, people weren't talking about him like that. They were talking about it as a fluke, a playoff fluke. Oh, empty numbers, empty calories, whatever. And then he goes and he stays with the franchise. He wins a championship. And the entirety of his career completely rewritten before your eyes. Devin Booker's probably on that trajectory. And for people who are right here, right now, you've seen him grow and you've seen it there. I'm not saying he's a lock, but to have him below Isaiah Thomas
and some change.
Can we put the graphic back up and look at this again? Would you say Rudy Gobert was the best ever in either Utah or Minnesota's franchise? No, not in the least. Al Horford, not the best Hawk, Celtic, wherever else he's been ever. Karl Anthony Towns, same. Donovan Mitchell. You look at Isaiah Thomas, and not the greatest kick. Devin Booker will be the greatest son of all time, and that's including MVPs in this league. Mm-hmm. That's my problem with this list. Again, I don't know that Devin Booker will get in the NBA Hall of Fame, but you brought up baseball compared to the Basketball Hall of Fame. The Basketball Hall of Fame is like buying a ticket to a movie. Yeah, it costs a little bit to get in, but it's not exorbitant, right? At Baseball Hall of Fame's like going to a VIP event. It's scrutiny to get in. Like Devin Booker, I think will have that chance well above any of those guys that were above him on that list.
This just needs to be another because Book he's got some similar vibes to like the MJ Kobe's of the world who are like, and I took that personally and made something out of nothing. I mean, it's just a site with some probability. It doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. This should be one of those things though that he's like, I'm gonna take down personally just for the hell of it, and just go out there and crack some skulls.
Before we move on from this, Kern Elliott in the chat says Donovan Mitchell is rightly above him. I think he's attempting to trigger me.
I think he is
that's
trolling.
what this is.
Not today, Kurt.
I think he's trolling. I mean, I think
Not
Donovan.
today.
I think Donovan Mitchell is somebody that you can look at and say, okay, I could see how if everything goes right for him, he makes the Hall of Fame. I feel the same way about Domantas Sabonis as well. And I know a lot of people don't like Rudy Gobert, and I totally get that.
The defense.
He is going to have whether you like it or not. Rudy Gobert will be a Hall of Famer for the National Basketball Association for basketball as well, because international play you mix in there as well. He will absolutely be
Rudy
there.
Gobert is just one of those guys that I feel bad a little bit for because he's just a very unlikable.
He does it to himself.
Yeah.
Fair, but I still,
So the one thing I have a question, I would love to see let me get my Gerald Bourguet on here. I'd love to see the numbers, the algorithm or whatever they use to decide this, because I gave you Book's career stats. This is Isaiah Thomas's accolades. 2-time All-Star, half of Devin Booker, 1-time All-NBA, half of Devin Booker, and 1-time All-Rookie, tied with Devin Booker, averaging 17 points per game, significantly less, 2 rebounds, significantly less, and 4.8 assists per game, a little bit less, on just 556 career games.
Okay, not to play devil's advocate. Could you make the argument, though, that he had a larger hurdle to overcome?
Well, that doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying.
Did Spud Weapon Muggsy Bogues make it in the Hall of Fame because they were short?
Well, yeah, sure. He was shorter, and if you want to go like peak for peak, like they were both top 5, I believe, in MVP for one season. But there's no argument that in the history of basketball, Isaiah Thomas has a more prominent spot than Devin Booker, and I think you can still mention Isaiah Thomas. I just don't think that he's a Hall of Famer. They're saying Rudy Gogurt in the chat. That is absolutely hilarious.
Mike from Mesa as well. I wanna address you. You said that Devin would be pressed to make the top 10. You say Duns. I assume you mean Suns.
No. What?
I'm happy to have that discussion with you at some point, Mike. I can guess a handful of people that you'd put in there, but I would be hard pressed to find 9 other guys or 10 if you're saying he'd be out of the top 10 that you could make a serious argument for. And I'm a guy that goes all the way back to 68 in terms of my knowledge of the franchise and understanding the history of it. So I would love to have that conversation with you at some point. For sure.
The hell damn guy in the chat says, I know you're not talking about Zeke like that. Different Isaiah Thomas.
This is Kings.
Different.
This is Celtics. This is Suns. Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not Detroit Pistons.
All right. Well, we'll have to revisit this at some point in time, maybe when they update the next time around and just see how much it's moved or not. But that one was kind of mind blowing to me. Anyway, if you're feeling some type of way, I know the chat seems like it's a little sassy today. Sometimes if you're feeling sassy, it just means you're hungry and you need a snack. You know where you can get the best snacks at?
Where?
Circle K. Shocker. Circle K is America's thirst stop, and it also has some fantastic snacks inside the store as well. And they want to hook you up, right? You get discounts on all of these things when you join the Inner Circle, a free membership program from Circle K. It's easy to download. You just enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. And after that, all you need is your phone number to get the deals. You're going to save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You're going to save 3 cents per gallon every single day. There are also plenty of other member exclusive deals and discounts, like your first 5 Polar Pops for free. If you've already used your first 5 Polar Pops, you can still get hooked up with a Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents if you are a part of the Inner Circle. So there's no better time or way to help yourself out than to sign up for the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
And you can come out to the West Side for our Cardinals tailgate with the PHNX Cardinals crew over at Chicken and Pickle. There is absolutely no place in the Valley like Chicken and Pickle. I remember the first time that we said, hey, we're going to do a live show out there. We're gonna do a watch party. I was like, from just a chicken restaurant. Come on, what are we doing?
They have pickles too.
I was so wrong.
Pickleball,
Well, that's the thing. They don't just have fantastic food, a 2-story bar. The chicken and waffles are phenomenal, but they also have pickleball courts, indoor, outdoor, life-size battleship. They have Jenga, ping pong, TVs for you to watch any game that you want. It's
they have a life-size battleship out there?
Yeah.
Oh, the game.
The game.
Okay.
The game, right. You can play that right next to Jenga or some ping pong as well. It's really such an incredible complex. It's not just a place to go for a meal. It's a place to go for an event, whether you're just going out for a date night or you're going out with friends. You're going to want to go to Chicken and Pickle and head to chickenandpickle.com to see all the fun you can have at their Glendale location. And come out this Sunday for Cardinals Rams tailgate right out there at Chicken and Pickle.
Also, get the actual fried pickles because they're bomb.
Chicken and waffles, get the fried pickles. I think I've seen, I've had the non-chicken there too. Fantastic. They had ribs. They had really good ribs.
Yeah.
I'll be out there for the tailgate. I'll buy you your first beer if you come up to me and say,
"Whoa,
hey, you said something dumb."
Give them a secret word. What's the secret
You
word?
said something dumb.
Oh, that is the secret word?
Come up to me and say you said something dumb.
Hey, dummy, buy me a beer.
That's hilarious. All right. It's our 3-year anniversary, you guys. Happy anniversary to us.
Aww.
We are 3 years old today, PHNX. And
they said we wouldn't last, but love finds a way.
Yes. I was like, I don't know where to go from there. Awkward.
The love of Arizona sports, I mean.
In years past, we've clipped a whole bunch of things and all the fun trip down memory lane. I feel like we need to save that for the 5-year anniversary now. You know what I mean? Like
clips.
The first 2 are really good, and then you start to do milestone ones.
This is expected.
You know what I mean?
What are you saying? Year 3 kind of just was not good, so we don't have clips.
Yeah, we were searching everything,
Garbage,
and we were just like, wow, there's nothing good for the
but I
last
feel
3
like
65.
isn't that how anniversaries go? Like the first one is like the biggest one. You still celebrate 2. Then 3 and 4 are like, yes, we're still on solid ground, and then 5 is the big one. And then you kind of go, isn't that how it works?
I don't know.
I'm taking notes here.
The fact that there was solid ground.
Apparently 7 is the one you got to be worried about. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know. That's what Bo told me.
You know what? I think what it is, I just got here in the past year, and then we just decided it just doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, you showed up, and we were just like, yeah.
It's your 1 year, basically.
It's almost. So we're like
11
months. We're 11 months in.
But we just wanted to take a moment, even though we aren't going to go down memory lane with a bunch of crazy clips, and say thank you, because 3 years could not have happened without the support of the diehards, the viewers, you guys for tuning in every day, hanging out with us, night in and night out, commenting in the chat, literally creating things for us, whether it's nicknames for Gerald or movements like cheeks from last season. Like, honestly, it seriously is insane. Yeah, sexy sacks. Yeah. Like, it's insane how much you guys give to us, not only as individuals, but as a whole. And we just want you to know that we appreciate it very much. And honestly, you guys make this way more fun.
Yeah, look, I joked with Mike in the chat, but I love conversations like that too, because conversations like that I would have been having on Twitter or with friends anyways, and now I get to do it as a job on a daily basis, thanks in part
our
to
pool of
in this
friends
chat.
grew
massively.
So much.
And look, 3 years is quite the achievement, and I joke that but there were some people that made it very clear they didn't think we'd last 6 months, and this isn't a I told you so. It's a testament to each and every one of you, people behind the Mac like Kevin and Shane and Emma in the past, and everybody that's come through this building. It's because of the hard work they put in, and we couldn't do it each and every day without them. And look, I thank each and every one of you for letting me live out my dream every day. I didn't know if I'd actually get this chance to do this for a career, and we thank you, because without you, and we thank our family, because honestly, they can put up with a lot. Weird hours, having to run in and get in front of a camera at midnight because Kevin Durant got traded here, all the events, everything. We couldn't do it without our families. We couldn't do it without you. And there's so many moments that I think I've been okay on this program that we couldn't show them all. So.
Yeah, there's too much greatness to pick from. You just have to go back and watch every episode. Averageness. I will say, obviously, I haven't been here the whole time, but PHNX and ALLCITY from DNVR is something that, as somebody who studied sports journalism and was obsessed with this business and this industry from a very young age, was very excited to see something like this come into the space. It was very new, it was very exciting, it was very fresh, and graduated from Cronkite, got a job in the sports world, and then was eventually able to land here. And it's
You're
such
welcome.
Thank you. No, I know, like, we joke about that, but legitimately though, like you said, Espo, it's like living out the dream, producing a show, talking about the Phoenix Suns or the Diamondbacks or ASU or the Cardinals on a day-to-day basis. It can absolutely be a grind, but it's not something that you would trade for the world, and it doesn't happen without the fans. And one of the reasons why I always wanted to come here was because it was like an equal playing field between viewers and diehards, and then the people who are actually like talking and making the shows, right? Like, that's not the case everywhere. And I think like they're so important, and going to these live events and seeing them grow and people invest, and then people coming in here and like not just making jokes, but commenting about, oh, like, hope you're doing okay, or whatever it is, right?
Can I, when my wife went through her surgery, the way people reached out and in the chat and all that, the term family gets used way too often about way too many things, but the community that has been around here for multiple things has meant so much, and for every little thing, and the inside jokes, like Eli says, can't forget the Great Vegas barbecue, like that's so important, and it means more than just it means more than just being behind these mics. So thank you all for that.
Yeah. And honestly, Espo, to your point, like, I know family does get thrown around a ton, but I think community actually is the best way to put it, not just by sheer definition, but I think when you look at who your family is, it is an extension of your community, right? In all aspects of life. Like, that's one of the things that we should be striving to help create and to support and better in all areas. Community is so valuable. It's like one of the most important things, I think, in life. And for us to finally have this community where we can hang out every single day in this medium, but also in person as well, around a team that we genuinely love supporting and have had and have for so long, even through the misery of it all at times, right? Like, that's what makes it so good, though.
Yeah, it's why we love sports.
That's what we're here for.
And I think it's very weird because over the last 10 years, sports in the online community has taken this turn towards toxicity, not just towards the athletes, but towards fellow fans, other people online, people you don't even know, people you don't even see their face. And I know we say, like, become a diehard, become a diehard, become a diehard. And for those of you that aren't diehards, I feel like that can kind of just become routine. You hear it, okay, whatever. But I had high expectations when I came in here and I started jumping in Discords and whatnot. It genuinely is a place like no other when it comes to just discussing sports and being a, like you said, community. And the people care, they're respectful, but at the same time, we have lots of differing opinions. It makes all of this so much fun. So, it's such a great place to be, and it doesn't work without producers, hosts, diehards, people who just watch.
Notice he said producers first.
It just doesn't work.
No, he did.
It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. That's right, Kev behind the back. Let's go, Kev. Let's go, Kev. Come on.
Eli also brought up the money we've raised for charity. Those are funds.
We've supported our own community as a group. Like, all of us together rallied behind something that was really important to me specifically, but then everybody else was like, if she cares about it, I care about it. Man. And we all got together and we made a really big difference.
We've mourned former friends too, like everybody coming together. When my dear friend Dave King passed away, who meant so much to this community. Like, we've gone through all these different things together, and it's only been 3 years, but I look forward to what this next 12 months and 3 years from now, what this all brings, because this community can continue to grow and do special things, not just Suns, but all the teams we cover. And we're not here doing it without you. So
yes.
I think we've self-congratulated enough. And
can we congratulate you a little more? Eli says, this is why y'all are the best of the Valley. And then in parentheses, Espo two times.
Yes, 2 times best of the Valley.
But thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. Eli, Kern, so says Jay, Amelia, Buddha the Schizo, Mike, Austin, Meatloaf, Daniel, who I met at Fry's today.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to you, Daniel, for saying hi. Buddha sent us a super chat as well and said, happy anniversary. Love y'all. We love you guys too. Thank you once again for being here with us always. And of course, if you're here on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button.
For yourself today, though, as a congratulations to you for all you've done, even though you're helping us.
Rate, review, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and be sure to follow the show on social at PHNX_Suns. You can also follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Eric at Eric Ruby with a K, and you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Luke, I am your father. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.